Ash here with Buzzbooster TV. I interviewed the fabulous Joel Comm, super rock star internet marketer, for a documentary that I'm working on called Shaping Failure, and I'd like to share with you a snippet of our interview. Enjoy!
So you want to know a little bit about me?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I am an internet entrepreneur. I've been at it since 1995, and over the years I've done a number of things, everything from content creation, site creation. I've bought sites, I've sold sites, I've done affiliate marketing, content marketing, mobile marketing. I'm a public speaker. I'm a New York Times bestselling author of 6 books, 2 second editions, 14 international translations, and 40 ebooks. I've done video production, podcasting, and application creation. I've had a #1 iPhone app, and probably a couple other things. When you're an entrepreneur, you take risks. And anytime you take a risk, you're bound to encounter failure. It's just a regular part of doing business. And so it's not something that's scary to me, because you know in order to hit the home runs, you have to swing for the fences, and that means you're going to strike out a number of times. And so when I strike out, I go, okay, that didn't work. What's next? Nobody succeeds with everything they do. You know, when we are public figures, we love to talk about our successes, but we don't go out there and say, I screwed this up, I messed this up, boy, did I blow a lot of money on this one. We don't typically brag about those things because people don't want to hear about the failures. They want people that they can look to see how do they succeed. Personally, I like to share some of my failures because I think it's encouraging to people, and it lets others know that even if you're a great success in one area, that you also make some terrible mistakes, and sometimes the blowback from them can be pretty strong, and other times the consequences are minimal. I think as entrepreneurs, we often don't know when to quit. We believe so much in what we're doing that we're willing to go through some really challenging times and sometimes fight to the death for our baby, our idea, our project. And that's probably one of the faults of the entrepreneur, is knowing when you failed. You know, it's like the Kenny Rogers song, The Gambler. You know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. And every situation is different. There's some failures that I decided to fight for, and they turned around and became successes. There's others that at the very first sign that either my heart wasn't into it or it wasn't the right fit, something wasn't right, that I should have run. And there's not a pattern. It's going to change and vary depending upon the person, depending upon the project, depending upon the finances, and circumstances outside of yourself. There's just so many variables, and you've got to evaluate and decide, what are you willing to fight for? I had written a book called Ka-Ching, How to Run an Online Business That Pays and Pays, and it focused on 5 different ways that you can make money online. And I decided to come up with some sort of little gimmick to tie into the book that would make it more memorable. And I was inspired by the Staples Easy button. That was easy. And I created and had manufactured these little buttons that were green with a $sign on top, and you'd push it and it'd make the ka-ching sound. And thought this would be great as something to help promote the book, send to friends and associates, and it would be memorable for people. So we also created an iPhone application that was just this green button, and you could put either the $sign, the yen, the pound, or the euro on the button. So we were international friendly, and you push it and it makes ka-ching, which is the same in any language. It just makes the same sound. Submitted it to Apple, and we got rejected. Apple said, we can't accept this app because it has minimal user functionality. And I thought, okay, I could either just walk away from this, or I can create a story out of it. Well, Apple is not always the most transparent with what they will accept and what they won't. And I thought, what if we told the story from the perspective of this poor little developer that's put their time and money into creating this application, and big bad Apple won't accept us. And I created a video that was an open letter to Steve Jobs, and this was back in 2009, I believe. And it was a humorous video. It was about 3 or 4 minutes, and it demonstrated the hypocrisy, because there was other applications in the App Store that had the same type of functionality. My favorite one was one called Knock on Wood, and you launch the app, and it's wood, and you tap it, and you hear just as knocking. That was all there was to it. And so I appealed directly to Steve Jobs, and the app was approved a week later. And I don't know for sure whether or not Steve Jobs ever saw the video, but I like to think he did. And it was worth going for it, because what a fun story to tell. And even today, it makes for a great story to share with people, how sometimes you don't have to give up, especially if the barriers to stay in the battle are low. And in this case, it was just me making a video. For those who don't know, I created the app that kind of exploded onto the scene. It was the now world famous iFart Mobile novelty application that does exactly what it sounds like it does. And it was a departure for me professionally, because iPhone apps were new. But, you know, as a guy, look, farts are funny, and I pulled my team into the conference room and we whiteboarded out all kinds of ideas, several which we developed, but this was one that just had us all cracking up. What if you could make this digital fart machine that would make flatulent sounds? And we thought, you know, the kids would love it, and guys would love it as well, right? Because we're all just big kids. Turns out the women think it's funny also. And the story there was not so much about the application as it was about revealing to the development community the numbers behind the sales. Because nobody at that time knew what it meant if your app was rated number 75 in the entertainment category or number 22 overall. And so I documented on my blog what the sales and rank numbers were, and that became a story that was picked up by the development community, which of course steamrolled and steamrolled, and the app hit #1 in the world on 12 days after it came out, and on Christmas Day we were #1 and sold something like 39,000 copies at 99 cents. So that was a good day. That was a Merry Christmas. I think a lot of people are embarrassed by their failure. They don't want to admit that they failed at something. And the truth of the matter is we're all human, we're all flawed, we all fail. You know, I fail at something every day, one way or another. You know, maybe it's the way I interact with somebody, maybe it's a business decision that I make, maybe it's something that I say. You know, we're made to fail just as we're made to succeed. It's part of our structure and who we are as human beings. So I think the more we're willing to be transparent and authentic and admit that we're flawed, admit that we make mistakes, the more people are going to be drawn to us because they can identify. So, you know, I think even in speaking this, I think it would be cool to make it a safe place for people to just be who they are without pretense, without putting on a mask and posing and pretending we're something other than we're not. And when we do fail, to be able to identify with each other and say, wow, that really sucks. I empathize with you. Get back up and let's try this again, because I know that you can succeed. You know, I don't think ultimately that we really fail unless we just stay down. You stay down, you're down. There's no more getting back up. It's the TKO. You're down for the count, and the metaphors are flying now. That's when it's really over. So until we're 6 feet under, then we always get to try again. Every morning we wake up, we get to go, thank you, God, I got another day. I guess you're not done with me yet. What do we got on the plan? How am I going to screw things up today, right? Because I'm going to take risks, and I know if I screw things up enough times, I'm going to hit a home run. To me, failure is staying down for the count. When you don't get back up again, when you live in light of your failures and take that on as your identity, when that becomes part of who you are, when something that's happened to you is so crushing that you let it define you, that's failure. Because we are not the sum of our past mistakes nor our successes. We're the sum of our experiences, and how we choose to deal with those experiences is going to determine how we move forward as not just business people, but as human beings. I'm reminded of the film It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart, and the line that's spoken to him towards the end is, "No man is a failure who has friends." And the things that we do in life, because they don't define us, because they don't make us who we are, we know who we are by the company we keep. And the fact that we're loved. We're loved by God, we're loved by family, we're loved by friends and the people around us. And that's what really matters is the relationships that we have.
Awesome, right? You know what would be awesome as well? If you shared this video. Post it on Facebook, like it, Google Plus it, do everything you can. Share it on Twitter, share it with a buddy. Spread the word. We love it when you do. It makes our day. We're ever so grateful for that. And because we're so grateful for that, go to bestbuzzgift.com, bestbuzzgift.com, and download a wonderful, phenomenal guide, if I may say so myself, that will help you, that will allow you to work your business and make it so much better.